new segment I am doing every Monday called Matt from the Past Recommends. In this segment, I will be recommending shows or movies that are streaming now that you can watch that are actually good. This will be different from my reviews in that it most likely won't be more recent things, and this is limited to either free streaming services or Amazon Prime. I am doing this so that these shows are accessible to everyone, and I will tell you which streaming service you can find them for free on. I include Amazon Prime not because it is free, but because, in my experience, everyone I know has Amazon Prime simply because they get it for the free shipping from Amazon. So it is it may as well be a free service. And that's about it. I'm going because I don't like just complaining about the wretched quality of what we've been getting lately. I think we should talk about what is good and what we can watch and what you can watch. And my first recommendation is the show Newhart, which is available right now on Prime Video. You used to have to pay for it, but as of today, it's available to stream. Bob Newhart is a comedy legend whose albums once outsold the Beatles. I'm not kidding with that one. He was most famous for doing bits without a straight man, where he would simply be one end of a telephone conversation. He also sort of created the type of humor that you'd see in The Office, where someone is reacting to something and they use long pauses to get a laugh. That sort of awkward comedy kind of started with Bob Newhart. And over the years, as he became more and more popular, it became inevitable that he would get a sitcom. And it became one of the groundbreaking workplace sitcoms of the 1970s, produced by Mary Tyler Moore Productions, The Bob Newhart Show. After that show ended, in what is almost unprecedented, he got a second sitcom that ran for even longer than the first one, called simply Newhart. And that is the show we are talking about today. The show revolves around Dick Lugden and his wife Joanne, who own us in a small Vermont town. Dick also writes how-to books, such as everything you ever wanted to know about camping, and this frequently comes up in plot lines. And the town that they decide to buy the inn in is about 300 years old, 300 or 400 years old, and it is so small and parochial that the city council only feels the need to meet once a year, and if you show up to that meeting, chances are you're going to be elected to the city council. They have an elderly handyman named George Utley, who, despite being a little out of his element when it comes to things such as the city, such as not being sure how basketball is played, and he does manage to keep the inn running. He does manage to keep the inn running smoothly, despite sometimes getting things mixed up, such as repairing the washer when he was supposed to be repairing the dryer, which leads to me wondering what exactly he did to the washing machine. Leslie is a maid who works there who's trying to get away from her rich family and learn what it's like in the real world. They 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 then have Kirk Devine, who runs the Minuteman Cafe next door, and the first thing he tells anyone is that he's a compulsive liar. He may be a compulsive liar, but he's honest about it. And this is the basic setup. The storylines run the gauntlet from odd things happening with guests to UFO sightings to trying to save the Minuteman Cafe from being condemned after an inspector spends 5 minutes inside and condemns it. To get-rich-quick schemes. If all of this sounds very stereotypically sitcom-y, that's because it is. But here's what I've always maintained. A stereotypical idea and can be done very well. And if you have the right performers and the right writers, you can make it very entertaining. And that's where this comes through. The cast, you quickly come to like the cast, and many of the jokes are actually very funny. And while they do use Bob Newhart's telephone bits once in a while, unlike a modern show might do, they don't rely on them heavily. You'll sometimes go 3 or 4 episodes without a single one. So they're not relying on what Bob Newhart was famous for to sort of member-berry you into liking it. It's just sort of based on around you enjoying watching the show and getting a laugh out of it. Plots rarely venture beyond a G rating, and yet they still manage to be funny. The show has a very relaxed feel, as emphasized by the great theme tune by the legendary Henry Mancini, and the incidental music by Nelson Riddle of 1960s Batman fame, and the whole thing comes together to be a very relaxing show that will make you momentarily forget about the troubles in the world. There's nothing insanely groundbreaking here, but when you have a show with characters like Larry and his brother Daryl and his other brother Daryl, you don't really need to be. With this cast, they managed to deliver, even the punchlines you seen coming, they deliver them to perfection. And it's just a very cozy feeling, entertaining show, and it's well worth giving it a try. So, if you are looking for something relaxing to watch this week, I cannot recommend highly enough the Newhart. You can find it on Prime Video, and I don't think you'll regret seeing it. It is one of the best put together sitcoms I have ever seen, and you can't better it, and there is a maturity to the writing that just doesn't exist anymore. A particularly favorite episode for me is when Joanne tries to take a college course on poetry, and the teacher tries to get her to have an affair with him, and Bob Newhart comes in ready to throw down. I mean, it's like the mob coming in. You wouldn't think someone like Bob Newhart, the head elf from, what's the name of that movie? Elf? I'm pretty sure the name of that movie was just Elf. To be able to throw down, but he is. But that's a particular favorite episode of mine, and the show is just a gem of classic 1980s television. So give it a try. I think you will be pleasantly surprised by this show that seems to be somewhat forgotten these days. So, yeah, that's my recommendation for the week, Newhart. And I'll see you next week.